I did a MBSR course a few years ago now. I think it was about 3 or 4. Kind of losing track. And the approach was very different. It was really helpful, very useful. So that was, I guess, my introduction to really practicing mindfulness. But at times I found it very black and white, quite rigid. So embarking on some of the courses with the Mindfulness Association really helped me because of the compassion element. It softened the edges. I found visiting difficult things very edgy, and being aware of a habit that I have of going into the past, it made it very difficult to do some of the practices. Whilst the practices that I was learning with the Mindfulness Association were really helpful, it was the compassion side that really allowed things to fall into place, and for me to accept even where things were from my internal world. So the approach of the Mindfulness Association I find very helpful, which is reflected in the staff as well, very much so. The way that the courses are delivered, and starting where you are, I think it really does, it softens the blow of, I need to be at a certain level, I need to be at a certain place, I'm not good enough, that little voice that creeps in quite often. There is a sense of everything's okay here. The door's open, you're welcome. And there's definitely a sense of being welcomed here. The reason behind doing the MSc really was, I think the seed was planted when I did the practitioner course. Because I was very interested in a lot of the other courses that were coming up. It was actually Vin and Kathy that kept mentioning, well, we cover a lot of these modules in the MSc. When that was dropped, it was a bit like, MSc, going back to university, I did that 20 years ago. Do I want to do that again? I'm working, I've got children. It's not really going to be for me. But the more I practiced and the more courses that I did with the Mindfulness Association, it seemed like a good idea. There's the compassion is definitely a course that I wanted to do anyway. Insight training, and knowing that this would then lead me on a pathway for 3 years, it built a bit of structure. So it was useful, knowing that I wanted to do these modules anyway, but doing them as separate courses may as well be tied up in one. That was the main reason. Yeah. But also following the practitioner course, then doing the teacher training, I really thought that the MSc would really help to deepen the practice and really get to embody the full experience. So it's really to assist on my full experience in order to continue. Yeah. Mindfulness comes alive in a sense of I can embrace being a human. It's okay. With all the stuff that goes on, it's okay. It's a bit like, it's just humanness. Mindfulness is like humanness. It's like a celebration and an understanding. So we're getting clarity. So that's what's happening for me at the moment, and I'm kind of going through the processes. It's not always smooth, but it's okay. So just going through those processes of actually being able to focus when I need to, and use my practices in everyday life. It's quite exciting because I guess I'm learning to let go of expectation and actually learning to be more with where I actually am. So it's making the living process a bit richer, and that sense of sharing these practices with others is what's inspiring. Yeah, it's inspiring.